Unveiling the new look of Guinness. Discover a colorful world of more.
More about sports from Charles Eruka.
Well, thanks, Bimbo. Welcome to Sports News. Ethiopia coach Hunat Bishow is in confident mood ahead of Saturday's 2014 FIFA World Cup playoff against Nigeria, despite needing to cancel the first leg 2-1 deficit. Bishow, who arrived with the Ethiopian contingent in Calabar this afternoon, said the task ahead of them is achievable. The 69-year-old believes his players know what to do because they know what is at stake. Ethiopia, who've beaten Nigeria only once, must score at least twice without reply to qualify for the World Cup in Brazil next year. Well, one of these two will not be at the World Cup anyway. Sweden captain striker Zlatan Ibrahimovic is looking forward to the two World Cup playoff games against Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal. The sides meet tomorrow in Lisbon in the first leg, with the return 4 days later at the Friends Arena in Stockholm. Only one spot is available for Brazil 2014, meaning one of the two talismanic players will miss out on the showpiece event. In other sports, the adoption of a revised World Anti-Doping Code has moved significant steps closer after a day of intense discussion, and the ratification will go ahead as planned on Friday, November the 15th. At the Anti-Doping Conference in South Africa, top officials of WADA stated their intent to rid sports of performance-enhancing drugs by adopting tougher and sterner actions against offenders. Well, talking about drugs in sports, former world heavyweight champion Mike Tyson may face legal action from boxing promoter Frank Warren following the American's admission to being high on drugs during fights. Warren, who promoted some of Tyson's fights in Britain, said the American would have been in serious breach of contract if the claims were true. The 47-year-old confessed in his autobiography, published in the United States on Tuesday, that he spent a significant stretch of his career addicted to cocaine and marijuana and used his whizzer, a fake penis filled with someone else's urine, to evade detection. Meanwhile, the head of the United States Anti-Doping Agency, Travis Tigert, believes disgraced cyclist Lance Armstrong's lifetime ban from cycling could be cut to 8 years. According to the man who played a key role in proving he doped during all 7 of his Tour de France wins, such a reduction is technically possible should the American agree to reveal all about his past. Armstrong was banned for life by USADA in August 2012 and stripped of the 7 Tour de France titles he won between 1999 and 2005. After repeatedly denying accusations of doping, the Texan finally admitted in an interview with television chat show host Oprah Winfrey in January that he took performance-enhancing drugs during his career. And that's it on Sports News. It's back to Bimbo for the rest of the news at 10.
Unveiling the new look of Guinness. Discover a colorful world of more.
On the foreign scene, it's been about 6 days since Typhoon Haiyan struck in the Philippines, and the U.S. aircraft carrier and its escort of 2 cruisers have arrived to help communities devastated by Typhoon Haiyan. The top U.S. commander in the Philippines has confirmed that U.S. military support would be on an unparalleled scale. Here's Cynthia Are with more.
Well, it's been almost a week since Typhoon Haiyan struck, and officials have begun burying some typhoon victims in mass graves. The confirmed death toll stands at more than 2,300, but sadly, it could rise. The UN says some 11 million people have been affected by the typhoon. The devastation is so glaring that a huge international aid effort has swung into operation. 2 U.S. destroyers are already in the Philippines, and other U.S. vessels are expected to arrive in about a week. Also today, top Russian and Egyptian ministers are holding talks in the Egyptian capital Cairo that will reportedly include possible arms deals that could be worth as much as $2 billion. It is the highest level visit to Egypt by a Russian delegation in years. It follows America's decision to cut defense aid to Egypt in response to the ousting of President Mohamed Morsi. Plus, a French priest has been kidnapped in northern Cameroon. George Vanden Bosch was seized in the early hours of today in Koza, which is about 30 kilometers from the border. FAN says it warned people that the area was dangerous, but that Father George chose to remain in his parish to carry out his work. Earlier this year, 7 members of a French family were abducted by Islamist militants and held hostage for about 2 months. Also in Africa, about 23,000 Ethiopians have surrendered to Saudi authorities since a clampdown on illegal migrant workers began in the kingdom last week. The clampdown has led to clashes in the capital, with at least 5 people killed. Saudi authorities say they are trying to reduce the 12% unemployment rate among native Saudis. An estimated 9 million migrant workers are in Saudi Arabia. And that's it from me. Those are the top stories on the foreign scene.
Thank you, Cynthia. And the main news again. The Senate has shelved inviting Aviation Minister Stella Odua to plenary and instead referred her probe to its Committee on Aviation. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Anambra State has assured voters that polling materials will get to the centers on time. Family and friends have held a one-year remembrance prayer for strongman of Kwara politics, Dr. Olushola Saraki, in Ilorin, and a French Catholic priest has been kidnapped in northern Cameroon. And that brings us to the end of the news tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Do join us again tomorrow. I'm Bimbo Loede. Bye for now.